What's up, everybody? It's your boy Devon Taylor here, aka Deezus, and this is my podcast, Deezus Take the Reel. No, this is not a religious podcast. It's a podcast where we're talking movies, we're talking life, we're talking all sorts of crazy shit, and I have a super special guest on for this one. She is a writer and host over on Screenrant.com. This girl knows her movies. It is Kacey Spivey. Did I nail it? Did I get the name?
Yeah.
There?
You got it.
There we go. Kacey Spivey, guys. This is going to be a super fun episode. I was definitely happy to get you on. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, I am doing fantastic. So I have to start off with the reason that I got in touch with you to begin with. And I remember you got like a little worried. So on my personal Twitter account, I noticed something with Screen Rant. It was something, it's very small and funny, and the only reason I noticed is because I am a fan. I watch the videos, read the articles and stuff. You guys do totally good work over there. But I noticed something really funny, and I don't know if you ever got a chance to check it out. So, and this is probably something you have no say in whatsoever. So I think this
most likely.
Yeah. So this will be fun to talk about. So I noticed something. So I'm watching the videos, and I was just one day I was just kind of backlogging, just watching some of the videos, and then I noticed something. And I used to do YouTube. I did YouTube for a little bit before I started doing podcasting, and then I kind of switched gears and then came over to the podcasting route.
Yeah.
But people, I realized in YouTube, thumbnails are a big way, if you do them correctly, to bring in views and all that good stuff.
Right.
And so I don't know if this was a popular analytics thing or something, or how it came about, but I've noticed Margot Robbie and Chloe Grace Moretz are very popular on the Screen Rant page.
Oh, really? That's funny.
Like it was so random, and I didn't really pay attention to it or anything, and then it just kind of, I was like, they pop up in a lot of their thumbnails. So it's once a month I'll just like on my YouTube app, whenever I'm scrolling, I'll just like see how many of them, I'll just like count them out, and I'm like, and it's just like I'm like Chloe, Margot, you guys better be careful. I was like, Screen Rant's out for you guys. But
oh yeah, sorry, I was just looking at it right now. I'm like, wait, I have to look at this.
Yeah, it's something
right.
you
a lot of. It's funny because so I write articles too, and to this date, the highest viewed article I have ever written for Screen Rant was Chris Hemsworth. And it was about his workout plan. And I was like, why did this get so many views? Whereas like, it's just him working out on Instagram. And it's like, for some reason, I think people are just drawn to attractive people.
Yeah. You know what? I definitely can't fault Screen Rant, because you are 100% correct. People are attracted to attractive people. So I definitely can't fault them there in choosing those two choices specifically. I definitely love both of those too. And, back in doing YouTube and stuff, I kind of realized, and, people throw out the term clickbait and stuff. And it's like, You don't realize, like, being a creator of any sort, like, yeah, that's kind of obvious. Like, you want people to click on your stuff. So it's like, whenever people are like, oh, that's a clickbaity title, or that's a clickbaity thumbnail, and it's like, yeah, that's kind of the point. Like, you're obviously clicking on it, so I mean, there you go.
Yeah, it's what commercials do. It's what all advertising is. It's like, I mean, the internet is a really competitive space for your attention, so it's like, you kind of got to do what you got to do to get people to get to your material.
Yeah, no, and it was just a super funny thing that I noticed, like a little trend. I thought it was really hilarious, so I thought you might get a kick out of that.
That's fun. I didn't even notice it, and now I'm gonna.
Now you can't look. Now you can't look away. Like that's what you're gonna see every time. All right, we've kind of touched on it a little bit, but the introduction segment of the show is "Who the hell are you?" It's I just want you to, from your mouth, you tell the people who you are, the things that you kind of do as far as Screen Rant and movies go.
Cool. Yeah. So my name's Kacey. Hi, Kacey. I work as a producer and host. I work for Screenrant, and I write for them as well. And then I also do a lot of performing in comedy. So I do a lot of comedy performing, and I also produce and direct and write my own comedy bits and sketches and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you did as much on the comedy side. I do a little stand up myself. Do you do stand up or do you
I've
like
done
improv
stand-up.
stuff?
That's hilarious. Yeah, I did improv or I still do improv, but not with a troupe anymore. But yeah, I got into stand up like a year ago, and then I did like I think I did like 5 or 6 shows. I did them at the Comedy Store in Hollywood, and then I was like, all right, I'd rather just host comedy shows. So I did. I produced and put together a holiday comedy show with like Spencer Grammer, who's on Rick and Morty, and all these like really great comedians in LA. And I made them do sets about Christmas or holidays, actually, in general, and everyone had a different take on a holiday story or jokes, and I put it together, and it's called the Ha Ha Holiday Special.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yeah.
I would never think about something like that, but that would actually be something really fun. One,
Yeah.
love the Comedy Store. Obviously, it's a fantastic place.
Yeah, you should definitely. All right, we're gonna have you on a comedy. We'll have you. We'll put you in.
I
That's
will
one of the
be
in the
I
line.
will be in July, or I will be in LA in July, so I will keep that in
Really?
mind. Yes.
Okay, we got to make this happen then.
Oh yeah, this is 100% happening. I love stand-up's a big part of my life. Whenever
Yeah.
I'm not watching movies, I'm watching it. I watch stand-up. I've grew up on it, and then doing it just kind of also helped out with doing YouTube and podcast stuff. It's a confidence thing. If you can get out and do
Sure.
stand-up and whatnot and stuff, it's like podcasting is easy, and that's not a problem at all.
Yeah, it's weird because before I did stand up at all, I was only acting, and as an actor, I wanted to hide behind the characters that I was playing. I'm really, really shy actually, and I have a hard time being myself in a large group of people. And I actually took a stand-up comedy class with a friend, and I left the first class crying because the teacher had wanted us to get up and read something that was like a journal piece of our life, and it was supposed to be really revealing and whatever, and I couldn't do it, and she called me out, and I was so mortified, and I was like, I don't think I can do this. And then by the end of the class, we got up at the Hollywood Improv and we did our sets for a packed house. I mean, it was like all weirdly famous people were there. It was crazy. And everyone applauded and laughed. And I was able to laugh at myself and about these really kind of embarrassing things that I did or whatever. And it made me more confident in myself, which actually helped me get into hosting because I could then go, okay, I can speak in public as Kacey, and it's just as valid and interesting as me being a different character.
Yeah, that is. Oh my goodness! Like you hit so many fantastic points that I agree with there. Stand up is a very personal thing, and then, but the way that you just said it kind of worked into your hosting. That makes
Yeah.
me feel good. I mean, that's kind of like the route that I'm trying to take here. It's like
Yeah.
whenever I started doing media and stuff, at first I was like, okay, I had my channel, and it was like more show centric and like movies and stuff like that. And then I was like, okay, whenever I started switching gears and doing this, I was like, you kind of got to decide whether you are promoting yourself as like, the content that you're doing, or if you're promoting your personality. And some people kind of distinguish between the two of, their personality and their hosting personality. And it's like, I go by a different hosting name. I go by Deezus and stuff whenever I record.
Right.
But it's still like my hosting. I'm doing my podcasting air quotes. Nobody can see these right now, but hosting personality.
Right.
They're kind of one the same, but stand up was definitely whenever YouTube wasn't doing as well for me, because like I'm really comfortable talking in front of people. Like I'm a server, like I talk to strangers on a daily basis, so it's like I don't mind talking to people and like that kind of stuff bothers me or doesn't bother me. But as far as like whenever I do videos and stuff, I'm kind of a perfectionist. So
Yeah,
it's like,
same.
so it's like I would kind of get into my head a little bit too much whenever I do videos and stuff. And then so the more I started doing stand up and stuff, it kind of loosened me up and stuff. And it's a way more vulnerable place you got to put yourself in because, you know, you're doing it live, you're doing it in person with people and stuff. You know, there's a lot that goes into stand up that I don't think people understand too much.
Right.
Yeah. So that's super awesome. I had no idea that you had a stand-up background. So,
you know,
yeah.
Don't we all? No. Yeah. That's awesome. We'll definitely have to do a show together. That'd be great.
Yeah. 100%. Last time I was in LA and, me and my best friend, we went to a comedy store and freaking on a Monday, we went on a Monday night. We were, there to see Theo Vaughn.
Yeah.
And he ended up not performing that night. So like the one person that we go there to see, he apparently, I tweeted him and he had forgot about the show. And I can't remember if I've told this story before, but word for word, what he tweeted me was, "Oh man, I forgot about that show. I'm at home eating spaghetti right now."
Oh
and
my
that was
God.
and that was
That's
his explanation
hilarious.
to me on why he wasn't there. But so he ended up not performing. But on a Monday night, fucking Bill Burr performs a like 25-minute
That's my
set.
favorite comedian.
Yeah, he did like a 25-minute set. He wasn't like on the schedule or anything. And the host, she comes up and she's like, "Oh," and then she like tried to downplay it. She was like, "Oh yeah, you might have seen this guy, blah 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 blah." And then she's just like, "Bill Burr," and then she like runs off the stage. I was like, I look at my roommate. I was like, "Did she just say Bill Burr?" And he does he does like 25 minutes, and then he was like, "Hey, I was just in the neighborhood and wanted to try out some new material. Thanks for letting me hop on." And then he peaced out.
Yeah, that's what they want to do. Judd Apatow showed up at one of my shows before, and like just unannounced, and just wanted to work some stuff out. He just had like a leather journal that he was just reading random thoughts from the day of, and we were all like, "Oh my God," freaking out. Of course, I didn't meet him, and had, you know, I was like, "Great, can't wait to not get an opportunity from Judd Apatow right now." But yeah, he like did his thing and left, and I was just like, I can't believe that just happened.
Yeah, it's crazy. Out in LA, you never know, especially at somewhere like the Comedy Store. It's like, because everybody in the comedy world is like pretty nonchalant. Like, it's like you see somebody in the comedy world that, like, you know, is famous to you, but she'll like in the comedian world, everybody's just kind of like, yeah, whatever. Like, don't make a big deal out of it, you know, and you're trying to play it cool and not nerd out in front of these people.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get into the first segment of the show, Deezus Take the Reel. Every episode we play a brand new game that I usually come up with 10 minutes before we start recording. You know, most of the games are kind of tailored to what we're talking about and who I'm talking to. And this is no different. And really, the only reason I made this game is so I can make a cheap pun, because I like making puns. So we are talking two Charlize Theron movies. Later on, we'll be talking Young Adult and Hancock. So to prepare for that, we're going to talk some other Charlize Theron movies. So this game is called From There On In. Huh? From There On In. Yeah.
Good one.
Yes, thank you. Low-hanging fruit. Gotta go there. So something I noticed about Charlize Theron, and I was thinking about this the other day, you know, and like I said before the show, I never heard of this movie before, Young Adult, that we're going to talk. And it was fantastic. And she has this like ridiculously large filmography, and I have maybe seen like 6 of them. Like, she just kind of does whatever she wants, and I can respect that. You know, I can tell that Charlize Theron is definitely not somebody that does the paycheck stuff. She likes doing whatever movie she wants. So I think that's interesting. However, there are so many random movies on this list that I have never heard of. So I took some of those ones, and then I took some other random movies that she was not in, and then you're just going to have to take wild guesses on whether she was actually in that movie or not.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
That's great. So I'm guessing on whether it's a real title that she's in or not.
These are all real titles. You just have to... I mean, there's really nothing you have to go off of besides the title on guessing if she was in it or not. But these are all real movies that I'm going to name.
Okay, got it. Dang it. I'm a really big fan, so I'm going to be really embarrassed
Yeah.
if I don't.
So you have to know your Charlize Theron here. So I have a few of them. Let me
Okay.
finalize this list real quick. I had a few of them. I want to add just a couple more on there. But yeah, no, she has just a very widespread filmography. It's kind of all over the place. She never really settles into a genre or niche either. She's very versatile, so I think it speaks to her talent as an actress for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, you ready?
Ready.
All right, first movie, Mighty Joe Young.
Oh no. I'm going to say no. I don't think she was in Mighty Joe Young.
She actually was. That one surprised me. I was looking back and I was like, she was in Mighty Joe Young, and I looked up a picture. Sure enough, there is a younger Charlize Theron in there. She plays Jill.
Whoa!
Crazy, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I had no idea. All right, let's go ahead and go into another one. All right. Trial and Error.
That sounds like something she would do. Yeah, I'm gonna say yes.
That is correct. It is her fourth film feature, very early in her career.
Yay!
The first movie of her career is Children of the Corn 3, the direct-to-DVD sequel of the Children of the Corn movies.
That makes me feel so much better about things that I do.
Oh, I mean,
just random stuff for acting, just random, and then eventually, I guess you work up into the crazy.
Pretty much.
Stuff.
My roommate Tyler, he's an actor, and something I do whenever we're sitting around in our spare time, I'll throw out a random terrible movie idea.
Yeah.
And I try to see how low he'll stoop, because he's always just you know what, I'm just going to do as many jobs as I can. I'm going to take on as many stuff. So I'm okay, I'm going to see how desperate you are. So I'll randomly just throw an idea out there and try and get it as more terrible. I'm would you still do this movie? And and we try to see how low we can set the bar for him.
There's a guy in our cast for Game of Thrones, the musical, I should clarify, who he works a lot, but only in these really weird, obscure things. He did a General commercial, and he did a Dollar General commercial, and then he did a book that's hot guys with cats and stuff like that. And so we were kind of making fun of him this weekend about it, but then we were yeah, but we would also all take that if we could. We would also all do that. So
work is work, money is money, exactly. And especially in the acting industry, when you're starting off, you gotta take what you can get. So you never know. Alrighty, here's another movie, Winter's Bone. This is a fairly recent one-ish.
That's with Jennifer Lawrence. I'm gonna say no. That was just Jennifer.
Yep, you are correct. There is no Charlize Theron in that movie. Fun fact, Winter's Bone was filmed about 30 minutes from where I live currently. I live in Springfield, Missouri, and they shot Winter's Bone up here in the Ozarks.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. Another fun fact, the neighboring town next to us, Nixa, is the fictional home of Jason Bourne in the Jason Bourne movies.
No way. That's awesome.
I live literally, people don't even know there's a Springfield in Missouri, but there's really random movie connections here. It's kind of neat.
You guys must have good tax incentives.
Probably. That sounds about right. Yeah. People film all sorts of stuff out here, especially out in the Ozarks. That's our little mountains area. Philip Phillips did a music video out here.
What? That sounds so nice. It's probably just a lovely place to be too.
It's not bad. Springfield's a pretty nifty little place. I'm from St. Louis. I'm from a bigger town, but Springfield's pretty chill though. I like it.
That's nice.
Alrighty, another film. This one is just came out this past year. Kubo and the Two Strings.
Yeah, she was in that. I don't remember what she was. It's a voice of something, but
yep.
Yeah.
She plays the mom. She plays Monkey.
Monkey.
Yeah.
Oh,
A lot of people didn't recognize that was her voice, so I thought it was interesting.
that's funny.
All right. Next up, we got Take Shelter. If you have not seen that one, it is the Michael Shannon film.
Take Shelter. Yes, I feel like that would be something she would be like, yeah, absolutely.
You would think so, but no. She is
No!
not in Take Shelter. I would love to see her and Michael Shannon in a film together, though.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That would be real awesome. All right, next up, this is a classic. Was this in her early days or not? Eraserhead.
Oh, God. I don't think she was in that. I don't think so. No.
You got that one correct. She is.
Yep.
She was not in that one either. That was before she started. I think it was like the year before she like officially started acting. So no. And then I got one more. The Legend of Bagger Vance.
The Legend of Bagger Vance? No, I don't think I don't even know what that is.
I don't know what that is either, but she was in it apparently.
Oh, goodness, Charlize.
Let me see. This movie, I've never heard of it, but it has Will Smith and Matt Damon in it.
What?
It's from 2000. Bagger Vance. It looks like it's a sports drama film about a golfer.
Great.
Huh. Interesting. But she's apparently in that.
Great.
Yeah. Like I said, from there on in, Charlize Theron is in a lot of random films. She's in a lot of films that she's not in. So thought that was a little interesting way to kind of go through her filmography a little bit. I still think you keep your street cred as a Charlize Theron fan.
Thank you so much. I really hope so.
All right. Yeah, no, that was a fun one. And before we transition into the bulk of the show, just a few housekeeping things. One, make sure you guys are checking out the Patreon account, patreon.com/Deezus Take the Reel. $1 a month can help make the show bigger and better. We need help from you guys. I can do more of the live shows, do longer episodes, maybe make Deezus and T-Money a full-time show. You guys never know. The possibilities are endless. Just make sure you check out the Patreon account, patreon.com/Deezus Take the Reel. And then, if you guys cannot get enough of me on here, make sure you are checking me out on TV Ate My Brain. I am covering iZombie Season 3 all season long, and I also just finished, I did 13 Reasons Why, the Netflix series. I'm currently doing it now, but by the time this episode's released, it'll have been done already. So go and check out TV Ate My Brain as well. Some good stuff popping up over there. All right, now, back to my show. Let's go ahead and get into the bulk of the show. We are talking a couple Charlize Theron films. And usually whenever I pick a theme for the show, like whenever somebody gives me a suggestion, I'll try to make it like a film topic, maybe not based on someone specifically. However, I rewatched Hancock the other day and I really wanted to talk about this film. And I was like, okay, so Kacey picked young adult. I'll pick Hancock. We still get to talk about Charlize Theron. So that's fair. But yeah, we kind of went through it a little bit, whenever we were talking before the show. But what exactly made you want to talk about this film, or why does it stick out to you, young adult?
I came upon this film at a very sad time in my life. I was in college. I was, I think, finishing my third year. I graduated in 3 years, so it was my last year. And I had friends who also did film and were into it, but I was really alienated in my college because not a lot of people understood my passions. I couldn't really relate to a lot of people. And I was just ready to move on and ready to get out of that small town and go to the big city and make it big. And the movie, if you don't know what it's about this character who does that. She leaves her small, teeny tiny town. She goes to the big city. She makes it as a writer. She's writing these amazing young adult novels that aren't like, they're just silly young adult novels, but she's now like kind of famous, sort of. And then her book series gets canceled, and she's depressed, and she decides to go back to her small town and reconnect with her long lost, or her high school sweetheart, I guess you would say, and kind of start over again. And she goes back, and her town sees her as odd and isn't like, oh my God, you're back. Welcome home. We've missed you. You're such a big celebrity star. They were kind of put off by the fact that she looked down on them and left them and for something better, and now she's back. And it gave me a new perspective on what I was doing. It kind of made me go, oh wow, I shouldn't be, frowning while I'm here. I shouldn't be, snuffing everyone off. I should really be building my relationships better while I'm here, and not just focusing on bigger and better things and bigger and better people. So it was a learning experience for me, and I loved her acting in it, and I loved what it was about, and it was really dry and self-aware, and I love it. Diablo Cody is one of my favorite writers. I believe she wrote that.
Yeah, she
and
did.
Yeah, that's why I liked it.
Yeah, it was a great film, great choice. I really enjoyed it, and yeah, I can definitely relate to this on a very similar level. This is one of those movies, it doesn't have like a super deep theme to it, or like a complicated plot or anything like this. This is just kind of one of those movies where you're dropped into somebody's life, and you see what's going on with them for a minute. You just kind of get in their head. It's a character study on God, is it Mavis or Mavis? Mavis, right? Is how you say her name. Yeah, Mavis. And but yeah, you talk about leaving your town behind, and kind of doing the thing. And I'm kind of in a similar situation. It's like I don't really talk to a whole lot of people from that I went to high school with or anything like that. Or whenever I go home, I don't like meet up with old friends and stuff. Like, just not my thing. So it's like whenever if I were to get a little bit famous down the road or something, it's like I would go back, and it would be kind of the same way. Like, I wouldn't be like treated any differently. Like, oh my goodness, it's Devon. They'd be like, oh yeah, yeah, I remember him. So so I related to this on a personal level as well. And especially like meeting the person in high school, like connecting with them who you never talked to, and it's like then she has this nice little friendship with Matt, played by Patton Oswalt, one of his better performances in a film as well. Patton Oswalt is usually the random comic relief, and just kind of there doing his Patton Oswalt thing, but this is actually a really good performance from him as well.
Oh yeah, it was great. This is the first thing I saw him in, weirdly, and I know he's in everything, but so when I watch him do comedy now, I only think of him as this sweet guy in this movie.
Yeah,
that he's playing
while he's doing one of the raunchiest sets ever, I'm sure, and you're like, that is not the Matt I know.
Exactly.
No, it's a really good film, and then the beginning is what really got me, the way that they intro this movie in. For those of you who haven't seen it, sorry, this is kind of an older film. It's not a spoiler either. It's just kind of like a little interesting thing that you see whenever this movie starts. So she's hitting the road, and she packed up all of her stuff, and then she's listening to the song on this tape, and then it'll get to the end, and then she rewinds it, and then they start playing the song again, then they'll show more credits during the opening credit scene, and then they did it again. They do it 3 times, and I was like, oh my God, how many times are they going to do this? But at the same time, it was a very deliberate choice, and really established, like, okay, this is what this girl is going through. She's reliving the same things, and putting herself in a space whenever she was happy, and showing her obsession with her high school sweetheart, who, by the way, has one of the coolest names ever, Buddy Slade. What?
Yeah.
If that was a real person in real life, oh my God, that's a cool ass name.
It is.
But yeah, it really sets up her obsession and the reason she's going back. The first half of the movie is, have you seen the movie What About Steve? The Sandra Bullock. It's a really bad Sandra Bullock movie, and Bradley Cooper's in it. It's like terrible, and it's like known for being like super bad, but it's just like you got these two A-list actors in it. And this movie, all I was gonna say is like the beginning is like the good version of What About Steve. So it's like people who have seen that movie, you know what I'm talking about. That movie is awful. Save yourself. Don't avoid that movie at all cost. Actually,
will do.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a super interesting film, and then you know, you really learn about like what has been going on with Mavis, and then you know she's learning a lot about herself with Matt, and then so what is, you know, your biggest takeaway from the film? Like, because you know you go through this arc with Mavis, and then did you connect with Mavis's character at the end of the film as well?
Yeah, it was a really different look at success for me, because I was, you know, in this small town reading these celebrity gossip magazines, like, oh, well, if you're successful or if you're whatever, then your life is perfect and everything's amazing and everyone loves you and blah, blah, blah. And there's so many times in the film where, yes, she is successful. She's a successful author, and she still has a teeny tiny apartment. She still has a, you know, her car is kind of, you know, it's fine at the beginning, but I think at the end it's all beat up. And she's going around looking down at everyone else, and really everyone else is looking down at her. And it's interesting because I don't think that she grows that much. I think
No, not really.
she has a moment where she could have changed, and she decides not to, and to keep going. And it was one of those like bait and switch moments that I love in films, where you don't get the happy ending that you think you're going to get, or you don't get the lesson that you think you're going to get. And I appreciated that. But in turn, I got the lesson. I was like, oh yeah, she should have changed here, and ergo I should change.
You know what? I love that as well. And I know that's something that not a lot of people love, like in the ending of movies, like when you get the bait and switch. Like, I love unhappy endings, as weird as that sounds. Like, I don't know if that's the more cynical side of me. But no, I think that makes a lot of sense. You know, she doesn't really change all that much. She doesn't go through this like super crazy arc or anything. And that's where this movie kind of surprises you a little bit. And then because I think when they do that, when a movie does it, it's just kind of reminds you like, hey, not everything's going to go exactly the way it seems in the end. Not everybody learns their lessons. Like, some people are just the way they are, and that's just going to be the way, you know, the way it is. And sometimes that is a little bit more of a real life approach. And I think that movie kind of just does that in general.
Yeah.
Just approach it in a very, very good light. And like you said, it kind of did the like a reverse psychology thing to you. She didn't change it all, but then you were like, but I'll learn to not do that.
Yeah, I don't want to be her, as opposed to like when you watch superhero movies, you're like, I want to be Iron Man, or you usually want to be the character that you're watching, and this time you were kind of disgusted by it.
Yeah, completely true. And, you know, I will go ahead and take the cheap transition. You said superheroes, so my pick is it's Hancock. And Hancock is a movie, you know, it's not a Charlize Theron film, more of this was a movie that she was in. However, I will take the excuse to talk about this film any way that I can get it. I think this movie is way better than people give it credit for. You know, this came out back in 2008, and this was when the superhero movies were like just beginning. That's when Iron Man came out. You know, so that could have been part of the reason that this movie didn't get a whole lot of attention. I mean, it did make a shit ton of money, but still, you know, nothing that Iron Man did or anything like that. And this was Peter Berg directed, so it's like you have Will Smith on there, you have Jason Bateman, and then Charlize Theron. Like, you would think that this would be a little bit more of a popular film. And it's kind of 50-50 as far as reviews go. but man, do I love this movie. So Hancock is, like I said, it's a superhero movie, but it's not about anybody in Marvel or DC. Nobody that you know about. This takes a very realistic look about if there was just kind of somebody among us that was, had these abilities, and if people chose to not use superpowers so responsibly. Because I think that's something that a trope that I don't like in superheroes is that as soon as somebody gets powers or something, they just start doing good things all of a sudden. Like, come on. You give a teenager some superpowers or something, they're going to do some dumb shit. That's why I love Chronicle a lot, too. It's like they give these kids these powers and they don't just start saving people instantly, So I think Hancock has this really realistic approach to it. And then once you learn the background between Hancock and Charlize Theron's character, that they're these immortal beings and they have this whole backstory and stuff, and then the movie gets kind of deep about, because the movie is about being more than just on the surface level, because Jason Bateman's trying to help Hancock with his image problem, and then, and Hancock's dealing with, not having these memories and being immortal, not being able to be with the person they love. Because that's kind of the crux of the movie is him and Charlize Theron's characters are like, they're attracted to each other, but they're trying to keep each other separate. I don't know. It was a movie that it was super crazy, and this concept, I was like, why didn't we ever get a sequel from this movie? So how do you feel about Hancock?
I mean, disclaimer, it's been a while since I've rewatched it. But I feel like if it were being made right now on this train of crazy superheroes, it probably would have gotten a lot more attention. It would probably be a more refreshing take on superheroes, because I feel like we're just so overloaded with, like you said, like the heroes that do good and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, I know we've got like Suicide Squad, and there's the Punisher that's coming out, that are kind of more anti-hero-y. But I feel like this particular take on a hero would have been really refreshing right now. I don't know if a sequel is the answer to it or not, because everything's getting a sequel and who knows. But yeah, I mean, I appreciated the overhead look at, okay, if this were really happening, what would this be like?
Yeah, and you know what? That you make an interesting point there, because I was like, would this have done better now if it was released? Like, either if the original Hancock, like Hancock as it is, like came out now, or would this be the perfect time for a sequel? Because like you said, we get the superhero movie fatigue just a little bit. Like I'm a big nerd. Like I'm a big comic books guy, comic book movie. Like I love all that stuff. But don't get me wrong, like, man, it gets so exhausting. I'm talking with people on Twitter and on Facebook and stuff. It's like the most people want to talk about movies is, the superhero stuff. So, yeah, it does get a little bit annoying. And I don't know how, it would work, because I guess now that Will Smith is Deadshot and whatnot, I don't know if it could ever happen. But I think you're onto something. I think right now would be the perfect time for a Hancock 2. It's 8 years later. That's not too far to where people are going to go, oh, that's too long. But at the same time, I think people would be very refreshed getting something a little bit different than the usual Marvel and DC and all that good stuff. But I don't know. I think it's just a movie that people don't appreciate. I call out the movie Blade all the time for getting no love in the superhero world. I think Hancock also doesn't get enough love.
They should do a special re-release of it. You know how Disney brings things out of the vaults every 10 years or something like that, and it's all of a sudden re-released, and it gets even more money because they're special releasing it in a new color or something like that. Maybe they should do a special director's cut or something like that and re-release it and see how it plays, because people might be like, oh yeah, forgot about that movie. Oh wait, this is really good.
That could be a thing, and if they did that, it would be smart to release the unrated version too, because Hancock, it went through production hell. Like, this movie was known for, like, it almost didn't happen. The original story dates back like all the way back to like 96. So this movie was like in development hell for like near 8 years before it like actually started moving forward. And then it was rated R, and then they took stuff away from it to make it PG-13 because, you know, they wanted to make that money. So they trimmed it down to PG-13, but then it did really well on DVD sales because they released it with the unrated version. In the unrated version, you got him dropping fuck bombs everywhere. The scene where he has sex with the girl in the trailer, you see a little bit more. So if you check out the unrated version of Hancock, it's very different and even better than the version that was released in theaters. So if they re-release it, they'd have to go unrated.
That's an interesting point. That because since Deadpool, people are really loving these R-rated superhero movies. And I love Deadpool. It was probably my favorite movie last year. And I also liked Logan a lot.
Ooh,
and I feel like the violence can be a little more gritty and real and kind of repulsive in a way, and it can feel more like real life if it's rated R. So that is interesting. If they released it unrated, that probably could get a lot more traction.
Yeah, and it's not even just of the thing of like, you know, like you said, Deadpool and Logan, you know, being successful and doing well with these you know, super hard R ratings. So with Hancock, it's not like you'd be just taking any superhero film and going, hey, let's make that rated R. Let's make this rated R. Hancock would actually make sense. He's an alcoholic in the movie. Most of the humor is very crude. You know, and then they have this romance with him and Charlize Theron. They maybe could have explored that a little bit more. You know, the unrated version of Hancock lends itself way more. It's way funnier too. I think I just rewatched this last night. But yeah, the unrated version is way better. So if you're gonna revisit this film, definitely check out the unrated version.
Yeah, I should watch the unrated version. I am 100% sure I did not watch the unrated version. I'm sure I watched the PG-13 version. So, yeah, I'll have to go back and rewatch that.
Yeah. All right, guys. And so taking us out of the show, the third segment of the show is our storytime segment. I forgot to tell you what the story theme was ahead of time, so I'll go first so that way you have a minute to think about it. But pretty much the story time on Deezus Take the Reel is, again, related to whatever we're talking about in some fashion. And so we're talking Charlize Theron. And Charlize Theron, I mean, you know, it's great that we haven't mentioned it because we've talked about her acting, you know, more than anything because she's a phenomenal actress. But, I mean, we're forgetting. Charlize Theron is one of the fucking most incredible looking people on the planet.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Like, have you ever looked at somebody and like think like they don't even seem human? Like how good looking they are. Like she falls into that category because like she doesn't look like other people. Like she looks like exotic and foreign. Like she has this crazy look to her. I don't know.
Right.
So the story that I want to talk about is, you know, the last time that you saw somebody and you were just like, a very visually striking person. And when I say this, it can be somebody like you're super duper attracted to or, you know, something like that. But just you saw somebody and you were just like awestruck for a sec. So I'll tell my story first. That way you have a minute to think of yours.
Okay.
So, you know, I work at a breakfast diner and I'm like one of the only single people there. It's very sad. But everybody's kind of figured out my type by now, like, you know, who I like as far as girls go. And most of my good friends know I love me a good redhead. I love redheads. Cute redheads are hard to come by. That's why they're the best. You know, redheads are hit or miss. They're either real hot or they're real not. That's usually how it goes. So I love redheads. I love taller girls. People know what I like, you know, tattoos, like, you know, all that kind of good stuff. And then, so I'm hosting one day at work and this girl walks in through the door. I kid you not. Like if I were to write down my perfect girl, like of, my top preferences. If I were to write this down on a piece of paper and then this girl walk in and you open that piece of paper, it'd be as if like I was looking at her when I wrote it. Like, I mean, word for word, like this girl was like 5'10", red hair. She had tattoos. She was dressed super nice, cute smile, like literally like as if I like wrote her down before she came in the door. And I was just like,
wow.
I was hosting. I was like, I just kind of looked. I like froze for a sec. I like looked at it. And I like cocked my head because like I could not make words for a sec. Like straight up, I was like, you need a table or something? And then she was like, no, I'm actually here for an interview. And my eyes got all big. And then I walked away and I like went up to my manager. And then I go, hire her now. And then I just walked away. Sadly enough, she only lasted like 2 weeks. But yeah, no, like I was literally reduced to the like that. And yeah, it was a good time. Good time.
Wow.
So have you thought of something, a similar moment?
Yes, I have a story like this, and I mean, I could say like talk about guys, but I'm going to talk about this one girl because I do not swing the other way. But this girl, we were in. I'm a part of a like a theater group, and I walk into like my very first meeting in this theater company. And I'm looking around, and all the entire comedy sketch show. And do you have any words? And she stands up, and it's literally like an angel alien from another planet, like tall, blonde, like the most perfect person ever. And I was like, holy crap, this person is insane. And she was like running the show. So not only was she like an insanely beautiful person, she was like really smart and in charge of stuff. Now, I'm living in Los Angeles, where the most beautiful people from all around the world move here. And so the pool is very diluted with lots of beautiful people. And this person was incredibly gorgeous. We have become friends now, and now we do sketch comedy together. So we actually get paired a lot together, and we're doing some new sketches soon and stuff like that. So now we're like really, really, really good friends. And so I've told her like, everyone, guys, girls are always like a blah 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 around her. It's really funny.
Yeah, no, I know those people, and like it's a shame you don't swing both ways, because that sounds like a movie synopsis right there. Like now you guys are doing sketch comedy together and stuff. But yeah, no, I've had guys like that too. Like I don't swing both ways either, but I mean I can recognize a good looking dude. Like I'm very comfortable with saying that to people, and like I totally get it. Like when you see a person that you're even like, oh my goodness, like I do not go that way, but if I did.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's super hilarious though. And then and then you're like, now you befriended her and good times. Right. Does she like, make you feel weird about it just to like fuck with you every once in a while? She's like, yeah, you totally want to bang me.
Right. It's weird because, typically with really beautiful people, they don't really know how beautiful they are. So like she's kind of unaware, and she's really funny and really, really nice. Like she's probably the sweetest person in the entire world. She's the sweetest honey. So like she's been on I think like American Housewives and stuff like that, playing like, obviously like the beautiful housewife and all this kind of stuff. She's in this show now called like Malicious Bunny, where she plays this like trophy wife again and stuff like that. So she's aware that people think she's attractive, but she really downplays it a lot.
Yeah, and you mentioned, you living out in LA. Like I'm moving to LA sometime in the fall. Yeah, super excited. So that's why I'm coming back out there in July. But yeah, last year whenever I was out there for spring break, me and my roommate, And then like you said it, like, I mean, the level of attractiveness of people out in LA, it's so ridiculous. Like everywhere you go, it's just hot people everywhere.
Right.
Like, I mean, we got off the airplane. I mean, it was just like good looking people everywhere. And then we especially like when we went to Venice and Santa Monica and stuff.
Yeah.
And just walked along, the promenade and stuff. Like just literally just good looking people everywhere. I'm like, geez, am I even allowed to be out here? Like shit.
I know. I brought my best outfits when I moved here and stuff, and I'm not really a fashion person, but I got here and I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to step up my game. I need to get rid of my entire wardrobe and dye my hair even blonder and all this kind of stuff, just because like I was like, all right, I'm a little bit of a country bumpkin right now. It's funny because every time I get off the plane to go home, it's like, oh, yeah, I live in a place that is a really, really beautiful place to live. Oh, here are the normal people.
Yeah. It's funny because like I'm a very distinct looking person. Like, I mean, I have my crazy hair, I got my tattoos and like, my glasses and all that stuff. It's like so here in Springfield, I'm very unique and like distinct looking. And it's like I went out there and I just like blended in. I was just like one of the pack. I was like, oh geez, I need to up my game too.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, LA, it's the best. I cannot wait till July. 4th of July week is whenever I'm coming too, so it's gonna be.
I'll have to show you the world.
Oh my goodness, I am so looking forward to this. Thank you so much, Kacey, for coming on the show. It was so much fun talking to you. Where can the good people find you?
Yeah, they can. Y'all can follow me on Twitter. It's hey_Case, Kace, like ace but case. So hey Case, that's where I post all of my Screen Rant articles and videos, and also all my comedy stuff. And I'm in Game of Thrones the musical right now. We're running for 2 more weeks in West Hollywood, but then we're also going to Comic-Con. So if you are going to Comic-Con, you can buy tickets and use my name in the promo code, just Kacey in the promo code, and you might get a little bit of a discount, I think. And then also, so you can go to GOTthemusical.com for tickets, and follow me at HeyCase on Twitter for all of my things.
Yeah, awesome. Guys, be on the lookout for all the fun things that Kacey's doing. Working on just a ton of different stuff. And then look at that, guys. She's coming on the show. She was a great guest, and now she's trying to save you money on tickets for things too. Oh my goodness, what a class act, guys. As usual, you can find me on Twitter, my personal Twitter at Deezus12, and make sure you follow the podcast on Twitter at Deezus TT Reel. Make sure you are favoriting and retweeting and sharing the show around. Get those iTunes reviews in, guys, because I love those. I will read them on the Deezus and T Money shows. But yeah, that will go ahead and do it for us, guys. Next week, I can't remember. I record these all out of order, so I can't even properly promote next week's episode. I believe it's more Gooder Than podcast, but if it's not, you'll enjoy the episode anyways. So that'll do it for us, guys. Stay weird out there. Peace out, motherfuckers. Let me just pause this shit real quick. Thank you guys once again for listening to Deezus Take the Reel. New episodes every Tuesday. If you like what you're listening to, make sure you're following along on Twitter at Deezus TT Reel. Retweet and share with all your homies. iTunes reviews, 5-star reviews, get you a shout out on the show. And make sure you stay tuned after the music for a little pre-show banter. Thank you very much. Now back to the dope music.
What the fuck? Oh, I still sound as bad as I did in choir, bro.